Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 41st episode of Theories and Thoughts podcast with your hostess, Arnya and
Fancy.
Hey, y'all. Hey. This has been a day. Even starting with this week. I'm gonna just say attack on Black women. That's what I'm gonna say. I know I shouldn't say it like that, but it's really just some things have been bothering me, so I guess we just gonna go right into it, right, fans?
Yeah, because you really seem bothered. And I'm like, did I miss some? I mean, but I know you kind of be following different stuff than me, so have at it.
Well, I kind of been. So the first, so Cardi and Meg the Stallion came out with, I was trying to, of course, share to my page. Cardi and Meg the Stallion came out with their new song. WAP. I had to think of what the name of it was. Sorry. WAP, and it was like everybody had an opinion. And I don't mind, trust me, I don't mind some people having an opinion and people expressing how they feel. First, go ahead. What did you think of the song, the video? Did you have an opinion? Did you think about it? I know you'd be like, whatever.
You know what? Actually, I was kind of like, because of course, my first thought was, oh, this is like the song she did with City Girls, thinking of Cardi. But I just really didn't have much of an opinion either way about it, to be honest, because I'm like, okay, we went through all of that with that song, with that video, and I discovered that a lot of people saw it like as feminine empowerment, so really that kind of changed my perspective of it. And then, also, I couldn't really judge anyway, because I used to be a stripper. So this type of stuff is just like, for me now, though, I kind of look at things a little differently. But at the end of the day, it makes me think about oftentimes when I first started dancing, to me, it was just a job, and everybody would just be like, I would tell people like, hey, well, I work at the club, and they act differently towards me. So it's funny now, here we are, maybe 7 or 8 years later, and people have a totally different response. And I kind of like it in some ways because I'm more open-minded, but I also understand, the whole aspect of the positive images. Like, someone shared it to our page the other day. I actually archived the post because they shared, like, if they had shared the other image, with them face to face but back to back or whatever, that would have been okay. I just kind of didn't like that image being up there, and I even noticed like that some of our followers kind of left comments like, they were not expecting it. And someone else had also reached out to me and was like, well, do you represent this? But my whole thing is, I believe in allowing people to be themselves. I believe in expressing art, and I say I'm a work of art, so I can't knock anybody else for that. But I did enjoy the Kylie Jenner reactions. I'm sorry, because did you see the Viola Davis? Okay.
I didn't.
Well, they replaced Viola Davis with, they replaced Kylie Jenner in a video with Viola Davis. No, and then they did like a little supercut thing where they have her dancing on How to Get Away with Murder, like when she kind of drunk or something. I think that was, she was going through something at the time. Girl, they done put, they have her dancing.
Sorry.
Huh?
I'm gonna have to go look for it.
Yeah, it was really good. So that little stuff like that, I understand the division, but at the end of the day, like, I think that we as women are kind of stepping more into our own power. And again, I'm always like, I'm not a feminist, but if it wouldn't be the same way, like if your opinions would be the same if it was a man, then I don't understand. Not to mention, I ain't even touched on Safari. Apparently, I did have more opinions about this than I thought. I'm sorry, but Black Twitter straight drug Safari about his remake of the song. And I initially, my first thought, Huh?
Oh, that's why you tagged me in that, because I was like, what is
Yeah.
we doing?
I didn't even listen to it. And everybody was like, nobody asked you for this. But my thoughts were, it kind of made me think of what's his name, Jacquees. Like, the women are making these songs first, and then men just like really basically taking it, you know, from them, kind of stealing that shine. And even though we might like the music, it does kind of make me think of, and I've never said this word, but I think it's was it
misogynistic?
Well, they added the noir to it and made it kind of black, like a black version or something. I think that's what I'm going for. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on that.
Fancy, we have on kind of the same eyeshadow, and I didn't put on any mascara today by mistake. Anyway, that's why my eyes look like nothing. Anyway, I was just
actually, because I did want to touch on that right quick, because, you know, for one, I had this message. Just because you're used to doesn't mean that you still don't. And I thought about that because I'm always saying I don't do makeup or whatever, and I still really don't do makeup. But I have been beginning to like it. I always be like, you know, I'm not a makeup person. So I wanted y'all to tell me if my makeup is okay, kind of too much, because the green, like last time I tried that, it went wrong, and then I actually picked the same color again. So just if you all could leave some comments about that, I am open to the feedback. All right, floor is all yours.
Don't talk about my makeup because I'm sensitive about my shit. I'm kidding. My feedback is this. I didn't find it empowering. I hate when people always trying to make something empowering. Just because it's a raunchy song and they own their sexuality doesn't mean it's empowering. No. However, I can appreciate them being who they are. And I remember maybe 2 years ago, I wrote a blog. I wrote a blog. We printed it on the website and we put it in the printed magazine. And I was talking about Cardi, and I think it was my 10 things you can learn about Cardi.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
10 or 5 things. And one of the things I talked about in there was that Cardi make music that us proper women can't go out here and just say. She says a lot of things that I, as a businesswoman, as a Christian, I can't just be out here talking about my wet ass pussy. I cannot do that. However, if I'm talking about friend, if me and you are up there, girl, let me tell you what happened. You know, and a lot of people are like, you overshare. But I'm like, my social media does not see all that goes on with me. Mm-hmm. They don't see our text. Now, if they see our text, that's something different. But I didn't feel like it was empowering. I just felt like they were free in who they were. And everybody has something that they don't do. They don't deal with. WAP may be yours. I stopped watching Power. Not Power. I never watched Power. I stopped watching Empire. I had my reasons for stopping watching Empire. I never watched Power. I don't watch a lot of people was into the Harry Potter books. I feel like that's witchcraft. So you can't tell me, because somebody got on one of my posts and was like, as Christians, we gotta do better and this, that, and the other. But then your sister tagged you into a Harry Potter post, and you didn't tell her that Harry Potter wasn't witchcraft? Because to me, that's witchcraft. They doing magic, right? They ain't of God. Let's keep it real. Let's bring it all together. What you about to say?
No, yeah, you know, it's you touched on a lot of stuff. Not everything I totally agree with, but that's again where we tend to, but I just, I gotta be like, okay, some stuff I'm not, but I understand where you're coming from with everything, because it does stem from your faith, and and that's kind of where everything kind of goes. So I just want to know, and now, but I also, you are.
Thoughts are my thoughts. These are not Fancy's thoughts. These are my thoughts are my thoughts. They are not her theories. No, my whirling theory, girl. I had to think. These are my theories, not her thoughts. Okay, so this is how I feel, and I just felt like, if we're gonna call one thing a thing, we should call the other thing a thing. That's just how I feel. If that's how you're gonna come out, Will I be blasting it all in my, just everywhere? No, because I'm discreet about things that I do. I do feel like everybody ain't gotta know, but hell, they entertainers. Let them do what they're gonna do. I'm not gonna be, I went to Kevin Gates' concert. I was talking to this one guy. He was like, man, they wrong for that, this, that, and the other. And I put on Kevin Gates, Me Too. And he was like, yeah, that's my song. I was like, it's the same damn thing. Let's go. I have a homeboy who from Florida. He was like, these men, this is not y'all conversation. And then he was like, I'm from Florida. We was Luke this and this, that, and the other. Come on now. How many times? Hell, when I first moved here, UGK had a song called Let Me See It, Bend Over, You wanted to see it, but now she's talking about it and now you got an issue. Now, do I feel like ladies should be ladylike? And in my opinion, what ladylike is, yeah. I don't feel like the everyday woman should be around here, just popping it open, but that's my thoughts. In college, I had a friend who was a stripper, and outside the strip club, you wouldn't have known that she was a stripper. People would not know that she was a stripper. Even today, you would not know she was a stripper unless you was one of her customers. Period.
Okay. Well, I agree again with a lot of points. And also, I think it's probably important that I also know that I didn't even really listen to the song in full. I think I maybe saw like the clip. I just kind of instantly knew, because I'm the same way. There's certain stuff I'm not just going to be. Now, I've listened to some stuff, but that's just not, that is a little more, I'm maybe a little more conservative than that. As free as I like to be, it is still kind of like, that's above me. It's just not. So yeah, I think we're on the same page overall about the matter. And then also, when you said if you're going to call one thing something, you have to call the other thing that as well. And we touched, we're aligning there too. So
yeah.
I feel you.
Congratulations to Senator Kamala Harris on the vice president bid. This has pissed me off today. Here's why. Yes, you may not have liked her. You may not feel like, but I feel like a lot of it, I got accused today of one of my friends, and he was a friend because he had my phone number, pretty much told me the reason why I'm going to vote for her, will vote for her is because she's a black woman. I was highly offended. And if that was the reason, they got white folks that's not gonna vote for her because she's a black woman. So even if that was the reason why I decided I wanted to vote for her, then that's that. Now, everybody's bringing up the 94 crime bill. You should have brought that shit up when Biden was running and made sure he wasn't the person that got the nomination. Sorry, not sorry. He the one who authored it. I'm just saying. And I, in reading and not going off of what everybody else has said, I've actually seen what they were trying to do with it. Now, was it the best thing for our community? No. But I can understand what they were trying to do with the crime bill. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like in so much, I feel like if you feel like you can change, why this woman can't change? Yes, she's made some mistakes. Yes, she's done some shit. But why she can't change? So some things about Senator Harris. She's a Howard grad. She's the AKA. She's married. A lot of people have a problem with her married to a white man. She's the first Indian American in the Senate. And she's the second African American woman to serve as well. She's 55 years old. Fancy says she thought she was younger. I thought she was maybe in her 50s or something like that. She's only been serving since 2017 from what I see. Maybe you guys see something different. So yeah, and I wanted to read something that one of my classmates put on her page, because I see so many people demonizing her. And if that's not your choice, that's cool, and I'm okay with that. But why you gotta slander so much? So here's what she put. The announcement was just about the announcement was made just a few hours ago, and folks are already working feverishly to discredit her. Just like a few months ago when people decided Mama Harriet actually hurt slaves by leading them to justice. And before that, when people decided that although Michelle Obama is the most educated first lady, she's not that educated because she's still working on her PhD. We must be flawless to be accepted. Can't ever have a bad day. Can't ever exercise bad judgment. Shaking my head. Meanwhile, a person can't use even one positive word to describe the current commander-in-chief without lying. Go on, try it. Shout out to the Black women who continue to be great despite living in a world that works so hard to dim their light. Take a bow, sis. I was like, I put on my page, this is all. Because no matter how you feel about her, because somebody was like, well, he only chose her because she was a Black woman. I said, well, she wasn't the only Black woman that was in the running. And it just unnerved me. And it's a lot of Black people that's doing it. You know, if we wanted to talk about the crime, but we should have been talking about it with Biden. And then one girl was like, well, that's why she had to cancel her campaign. And this, I'm like, oh God. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I know we're running close to the time for our guest.
Oh, well, I mean, congratulations to Kamala. I'm not, I am familiar with the crime bill, but I really, at the time, what I was more so looking at is just kind of like, you know, is she really going to be for us, for the Black community? You know, like you just mentioned last week, how people have said that Trump is what Black people wanted Obama to be to us. I just want to make certain that there is someone that is going to be looking out for us in the White House. I'm not going to say that that's not Biden, but I still have my, you know, I'm still undecided in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, these may not be my favorite people, but I really think it's kind of a matter of if you have to choose between the lesser evils, however that may be, not calling any particular individual evil, but I'm just saying, because I know that with that type of responsibility, you do have to make a lot of decisions that, you know, you may not sleep well with at night. I couldn't be the president. So with all of that being said, I'm just going to try to pick whoever I feel like is going to be most beneficial for me. But it was two things that, because I was taking notes as you were saying it. So when you said that about the person saying that she was picked because she is a Black woman, but that's also what we've been demanding. You know, that's what we've been talking about online. That's what all these people have been saying, you know, that's been speaking for us. And then also you mentioned that about exercising bad decisions. And it just kind of made me think about how those two practices are kind of, you know, interrelated there about us all possibly making bad decisions at some point. So I just wanted to know those two things, and let me get our sponsor up on the screen. Or did you have, while I'm getting that together, did you have anything else that you wanted to say in closing about it?
No, I just feel like when you take one person's thought of the crime bill and everything else, look at it for what it was trying to do. It wasn't a bad malicious. I don't think they just maliciously just said we about to break up homes and Black and brown households and communities and stuff. I really think they was trying to help. It just didn't help. It was throwing something against the wall to try to make something help from what I've read in it. And I have it posted on my Facebook page, and I'll put it on my more public Facebook page. I just want people to look at her for who she is. She spoke out about the Justice for Policing Act. She of 2020. She actually went out. They had a press conference and she spoke about it and trying to let people understand what it is. Let's not go with the crowd just because the crowd is saying one thing. Let's actually pay attention.
Why that still make me go right back to the whole other thing we were just discussing, the other topic with Meg and Cardi. So it's just funny, again, just paying attention. But okay, so our sponsor for this evening is Miss LaKisha Mosley. LaKisha is a panelist, presenter, and speaker who specializes in event planning and management, entrepreneurship, time management, and balance. So if you all are any moms, I guess you say mompreneurs, or moms who are in business, or even if you're a business owner that's looking for an event planner and looking for some tips, you all can check out LaKisha at LaKishaMosley.com. That's LaKishaMosley.com. And you all can follow her on Instagram, and those are at TheLMEXPERIENCE. That's the LM Experience. And at LaKisha M. Mosley. That's LaKishaMosley. All right, so thank you for LaKisha for being a sponsor for this evening. And I'm going to now bring in our guest, Dr. Shante. And it's countdown. All right.
Hi, and welcome to Theories and Thoughts podcast.
Oh my goodness, you guys are wearing matching eyeshadow. I didn't even get the memo. Otherwise, I would have put something together. I'm sitting up here trying to look like I'm in quarantine, and y'all are color matched and the whole thing.
I just told her that. I was like, girl, we matching eyeshadow.
Yes.
I'm trying to learn makeup, so this is new.
Okay.
Can you scoot over just a little? The opposite way. Yeah, right there. Right there. You're in the middle. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am Arnya, and that is Fancy. We're really excited about talking to you today. So why don't you tell our audience about who you are and your background?
So I'm Dr. Shante, and I host 2 podcasts. One of them is called Believing Bigger, and the other one is Whole and Complete. So Believing Bigger is about finding the tools, the confidence, and the faith to believe bigger in your dreams, so overcome the mental obstacles that keep people from moving forward. And Whole and Complete is really about faith and wellness. So with a real strong emphasis on Black mental health communities and the faith-based communities, specifically because in the church for a really long time, the Black church, it was all, pray and walk away and take it to Jesus. And you shouldn't do that. At the same time, sometimes you actually need a therapist. Sometimes you can have both. It doesn't have to be Jesus or the therapist. You can have both of those things to live
mental health.
Yes, absolutely. And between those 2 platforms, so with the branding, in the Believing Bigger camp, I have work with a lot of people that want to do branding and kind of like build up their platforms. But with the Whole and Complete camp, I really do more holistic wellness and not looking at wellness from the perspective of things just like waistlines, but really like mindset and being whole and complete people. So that is who I am, and thank you for having me on the show.
Okay. So, well, today we are supposed to be discussing self-sabotage, and just as we're kind of like hearing a little bit more about your background, and I saw one of your posts online that really impressed me, whereas you were talking about not only self-sabotage, but why is the word just escaping me now? It was another, imposter syndrome. Okay. And that was what first like attracted my attention, because that's something I've been trying to learn more about. And then when I saw that about the self-sabotage, and I was like, okay, this kind of brings things more together. So with that being said, like, can you basically, for those who may be unfamiliar with the term, explain with us what self-sabotage is and like some examples of it?
So self-sabotage is basically when there is a disconnect between the goals that you say you want and the actions that you actually do to facilitate that. So for example, one of the most common forms of self-sabotage is procrastination. Everybody has procrastinated on something for some reason or other. And procrastination has a very predictable outcome. It doesn't end well. 9 times out of 10, it just doesn't end well. And when you say, I want to be a responsible, conscious, I want to be on point, I want to, live fully and presently and take care of business, but then, you let deadlines slip by, or, you let things like that slip out of your grasp. That's what they call cognitive dissonance. There's like a disconnect between what you say you want and what you express, but then you do something completely different. You want to lose 20 pounds, but you got Portillo's or, Italian beefs in the back, in the trunk. Maybe that's a Chicago thing. I'm from Chicago. So like, we do that Portillo's thing, but yeah, there's
like my business.
Not trying to step on no toes, but yeah, self-sabotage also comes into play with respect to what you referred to, which is imposter syndrome. When you start to experience success, you're like, I want to be a leader in this industry. I really want my platform to thrive and to shine and to reach, millions of people if that's possible. And then as soon as you start moving in those directions, you start second guessing, like, oh, do I really belong here? This is too much visibility. I don't, maybe I'll be exposed. And then we immediately discount the fact that, wait a minute, you have some experience, you have some education, you have some success, you have put in the work, you've done your research. It's like we completely forget about that. And we start to feel like we're there by luck, by chance, by mistake. Like we don't deserve that seat at the table. And so when all of that comes into play, that's actually one of the reasons why I started the second podcast, is because a lot of times we tend to think that if I just knew how to do it, I would be good. If you just gave me the steps, if you just gave me the formula, how people will be like, Sierra girl, what was the prayer? What was the exact prayer that you prayed for Russell? Just tell me word for word so that I can make that my mantra and give me a Russell Wilson. But you could have Sierra's exact prayer. If you don't think that you deserve it, if you don't think you deserve a Russell, if you don't think you're worthy of a Russell, if you don't value yourself the way you want a Russell to value you, the prayer, you can frame it, it'll be cute, but it's not going to do you any good because you don't really believe in it. So when there's a disconnect between what you say you want for your life versus what you actually do, that is really the bread and butter of self-sabotage.
Well, you're like, well, I'm like, wow. One of my words this year is worthy. And it was, I don't know if I was self-sabotage. No, I don't think I was self-sabotaged, but I'll go in scared. I'll move in fear. Because then I'm like, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go do it. But am I supposed to have this? And I think a lot of it, and correct me if I'm wrong, come from our background and the people that we may have come up with. I know someone that I love dearly, and I feel like they don't want to come out of their realm because then people are going to say, oh, you think you this, or you trying to be this, casting their own insecurities on them. Because I've been told when I was the first one on my mom's side to get a college degree, oh, you think you better than everybody else. Because I have a different opinion and ways to troubleshoot something. I've been told, oh, you think your opinion is better than everybody else because you left home when you was 18 and you moved out and different things. And it's a situation of if I didn't, I guess, felt like I could do it, speak up. And it has caused me not to speak up in some cases. I will say that. Because you're afraid that the people that you love are going to turn on you and be like, you think you this and different things. Am I correct? Help me out there.
You are right on the money. It's a sad situation. And I know this is not the topic for today's show, but self-hatred in our community is so real. And it's self-inflicted. That's the worst part about it. It's a self-inflicted wound. So I can't tell you how many women I've worked with that said they grew up in households where their mothers, their grandmothers, the caregivers, the matriarchs were the ones that were like, sit your fast tail down somewhere. You just walking around, your hot tail this and your hot tail that. And so basically at a very young age, you start getting slut shamed. You slut shaming children, by calling them these names and these labels. Or when you start to develop, okay, because, we develop. And then when those things start to pop out, oh, look at you, walking around with your tight clothes, and you think because you got a butt now, you da 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 da. And so you start getting subjugated in your own family. You start getting subjugated in your own culture. And so when you find the wherewithal to claw and scratch your way through that and then make it to college and not to just get there, but to like graduate from college, because it's easy to get to college. Getting through college is something different. So,
come on now.
And so you go through, you beat the odds and you make it to a place like that. And then when you start to elevate, or you start to bring in your perspective, the people that have not done that work all of a sudden start coming into to play with respect to who you are. And so those messages, they haunt you. And what's unfortunate about that is that sometimes we think that because we have arrived at a new way of thinking. Okay, so I heard you all having conversations earlier, I think about Kamala, right when I kind of stepped in. And, there's a lot of talk right now, in our community. There's a lot of talk right now. And what I heard you say, paraphrasing, is do your due diligence. Be a critical thinker. Do your own homework and really look into the record, what the intention was behind that, and things like that. But then when you say things like that, oh, so you caping for her? It's like, I thought I said be a critical thinker. So so just because you have arrived at a place of critical thinking and understanding and being able to filter through the noise doesn't mean that everybody else in your life has done that inner work. It doesn't mean that everybody else in your life has come to those same understandings. And so what you say versus what they actually hear is judgment. What they hear is, oh, you think you all that just because you got a college degree. And if we internalize those messages, it's going to stifle our ability to go further in our platform if we basically believe that message of origin as opposed to what we know to be true.
Girl, you just said a whole lot. Do you hear me? You said a whole lot. and we can, look, we have no problem with bringing you back to talk about self-hatred in our community.
Yeah.
Right? We were like, yeah, I like that point. So getting back to self-sabotage, what are some things that maybe I don't know that I'm being self-sabotage? I know you said procrastination.
Well, it's a lot deeper than that.
Right.
Self-sabotage, and this is my humble opinion, okay? Self-sabotage is rooted in scarcity. It's rooted in this belief that there's only so much to go around, that it's you or it's me, and it's survival of the fittest, and there's not enough food at the table for everybody to eat. And so when you live in scarcity, you are living in envy, you are living in bitterness, you are living in resentment, you are living in kind of like sour and victim. Okay, like, oh, if I would have grew up in a nicer neighborhood, if my parents would have been around, if ifs and buts was cherries and nuts, you live in the what ifs and what happens, and that narrative dominates the entirety of your existence. That whole narrative about, what you didn't get and what you don't have, and your focus is always on the deficit. It's always on the lack. It's always on the central thing of not enough. Even with procrastination, I don't have enough time. Or, you want to start a business, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough education. I don't have enough. And it's like, as opposed to the opposite of that, which is sufficiency. Sufficiency is not you or me. Sufficiency is you and me. Sufficiency is, I may not have everything, but let me look at the assets that I do have, and let me see how I can leverage what I do have. Let me see how I can use free, because last time I checked, Facebook's still free. Yeah, the algorithm is jank, but it's still free. YouTube's still free. Instagram's still free. Twitter's still free. So what have you done with free? You didn't have to have no money. If you got a phone to tweet out these complaints, if you got a phone to tweet out, to Facebook post all these tales of woe and bitterness, then that means that you had that same phone to push your platform, to push your product, to push some positivity. But you don't live there psychologically. You live in scarcity instead of living in sufficiency. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. That was good. I never thought of it that way, because I always thought of it as I'm not enough self-esteem. I always thought of it as self-esteem. And even with imposter, I always thought of it as feeling like you're not enough. So you feel like you're being an imposter because I don't feel like I'm not enough. I deserve these things because in my mind, I'm just not that person. You know, it should go to someone else or something like that. But
I mean, that all of that is rooted in scarcity. Scarcity literally means that. It means not enough. There's just not enough to go around. So I don't have enough intelligence. I don't have the right background. I didn't come from the right neighborhoods. I didn't go to the good schools. You know, it all is rooted in I don't have enough, and what I did have was insufficient for me to be successful in life. And if I do somehow luck up and become successful in life, then it just was happenstance. It just, you know, was by chance, as opposed to I had it within me the whole time to create this. I had it within me the whole time to produce this. I had it within me the whole time to develop this. And it even goes deeper than that. Somebody, I forget who said it, but when you talk about self-esteem, people date to the level to their level of self-esteem, to where they feel there's enough. So for example, we all know people that have been in bad relationships. We've seen people that have been in bad relationships. And a lot of times it's a head scratcher, like, why are you putting up with that? Why is she putting up with that? Like, I don't, like, she could do so much better, or he could do so much better.
mm-hmm.
But if you don't think that, if you don't think that you're enough, you know, then you will default to a level that you feel kind of like that entry level. Let me play it safe. Let me kind of take what I can get because there's not enough, you know, I don't have enough to do better. And so self-sabotage isn't just about, you know, what you're doing in your career and with school and things like that. It's also about, you know, who you surround yourself with in terms of your relationships as well.
Mm.
So also settling apparently can be from what you just said about relationships.
Oh yeah.
But there was also some other I just happened to find this list, like, as I was preparing for tonight, and it gave like a lot of different examples, and I was just like, my mind was just totally blown because, you know, the more I was reading over it, I was like, oh my gosh, I used to do that, or I did do that. Mm-hmm. But I noticed like one thing that kind of, and this might actually, you kind of said this when you said that about the if, because this one was, you waste a lot of time and emotional energy reinventing the wheel, like, you know, such as writing a new packing list each time you take a trip, or continually resetting passwords instead of like preparing ahead of time or figuring out a method that would make this go smoother for you. Mm-hmm. You realize that your routines or methods don't work, but you continue on, you know, the same way, like little things like that. And I said, I don't believe that people even realize, you know, they don't even realize how they may be sabotaging themselves in those areas. And like you said, it could be the list had different, you know, methods or examples from almost every aspect of life, but it's just like they're so easy to be missed, you know, like you wouldn't even have noticed it or thought about it. So I thought that was just something I wanted to add. But what are some ways that, you know, people can combat this? You know, what are some ways that they can improve?
So one of my favorite ways, and again, it all goes back to mindset. So are you familiar with the story A Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge? Okay, we hear this at Christmas time all the time, and most of us have heard some variation of the story, but the bottom line is, you know, in one night he gets visited by three spirits, right? Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future. And what is kind of genius about that is he gets a gift that most of us wish we had. Meaning, if you can see into your future and see how what you're doing and the way that you're thinking, where that's going to lead you, would you come back in your present time and do something different? And I think that's what we have to do. We have to be our own kind of like ghost of person future and be like, okay, let's think this out. If you keep living in scarcity, if you keep doubting yourself, if you keep lacking confidence, if you stay with Junebug, let's play this all the way out. Okay, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what is your life going to look like? What is that going to yield? And then if you see a picture that you don't like, you need to ask, this is where the worthiness comes in. Do you think that you are worthy of more than that? Do you think that you are worthy of more than that? And what it requires is taking a kind of step back outside of your normal circle, okay? And people that are always in your ear, and really get some objective perspectives, and ask them, in your opinion, what do you think is my, most valuable asset or, my greatest contribution to the organization? From your perspective, how do you see it? And get feedback from people that are different from your place of origin. Because don't get me wrong, some people grew up in healthy, loving, beautiful Partridge type families and Cosby type families. And if you did, hey, Lord. But if you didn't, those are not the people that you need to be asking about your assets. And once you start gathering some intel about how other people perceive you and the gifts that you have that can be cultivated and developed, then you need to make a commitment to one thing, okay, to one thing that you're going to do to develop that. Because I think a lot of times when we have these existential crises, who am I? Where do I fit in all this? What am I doing with my life? And we start thinking of all the things that we're not doing and all the things that we don't have. And then we get so overwhelmed that we end up doing nothing. So I'm going to say, how about you focus on one thing? Okay. So let's just say somebody says you're a really good planner. Like, girl, you have a schedule. You got it all mapped out. You be thinking 3 steps ahead and things like that. Okay. How can you take that asset and change one thing about your life that you don't care for? So let's say you feel like you need to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds. Great. Let's take that asset of planning and focus it on one thing. Okay, I can do meal prep. Okay, I can do menu planning. I can shop by menu. I can, set my phone and my watch, to remind me to hydrate and things like that. Good. Focus on that one thing. Get traction in that one thing. Build momentum in that one thing. See that you can do it in that one thing. And then use the results and the success that you gather from that one thing to then transfer into other areas and avenues. But it's kind of like what we call that the snowball effect. You start small, or if it's man, you for the most part, you are really good with money, and you tend to be really financially savvy. Okay, great. Let's say you had some debt. College be like that sometimes. When I went to college, you would get like free T-shirts, free food. Hey, fill out this credit card application. So people graduating with 5, 7, 10 credit cards. That sort of thing. Okay, if you want to pay off debt, how about we start there? Okay, let's find an extra $25, pay off the smallest debt first, and then continue that momentum. So that's one of the best ways to break out of self-sabotage is really focus your energies on one thing, get some momentum, and then start to transfer that to other areas of your life.
What about imposter syndrome? What are ways that people can get out of that? First, explain what that is for those who don't know what that is. And
go ahead.
So
imposter syndrome is when you don't believe that you deserve success or happiness or prosperity, where you think that you don't have the skills or the knowledge to be in places of success and prosperity and development. And when you have imposter syndrome, what you start to do is self-sabotage because you're so mentally debilitated by that. So for example, let's say that you have a hair product and you're a stylist and you use those products with your clients or what have you, and you get really good feedback like, girl, this leave-in, this is it, look at my edges, all of that. And then you be like, oh, okay, I'm glad you like it. And they say something like, you should try to get in Target because this stuff will sell off the shelves. As soon as you hear that, you're like, oh no, like, who am I to be in Target? That's not for people like me. Like, you shrink away from, or you shrink back, or you make yourself small because you don't think that you're the type of person that deserves that kind of success. You don't think that type of success is for you. You think that, again, it's a scarcity mindset. There is a pie of success and you don't get a big slice. That who you are is just you don't deserve that much. You're just lucky to be at where you're at. So when you shrink away from those types of opportunities, or you sabotage yourself in those types of opportunities, let's say, for example, your girl, she's like, I know somebody that, works with the distributors. I'm gonna connect y'all. I'm gonna put y'all in touch. And she connects you all. You got a call scheduled for Thursday at 10 o'clock. Thursday at 10 o'clock. Yeah, can we reschedule? Because, I got to go pick up my child, or, my phone was, acting up, or whatever the case may be. You sabotage that opportunity. So the way that you get out of that, when you start those messages, here's an important thing. There's a difference between what's real and the story that you tell yourself. There's the facts and there's the story. Okay. So when you start telling yourself this story, now you have to determine how much of this is true. Where did I get this from? Why do I think this? Who told me that I wasn't good enough to be in Target? Who told me that success is not for people like me? Who told me, and then once you get into the bottom of who told you that, then you need to say, why do I believe that? You have to interrogate your own thoughts. You really have to do that inner work. You have to ask, literally, it's called metacognition. It's thinking about your thinking. So even as you're procrastinating, why am I doing this? Why am I not focused on what I need to be focused on? Why am I thinking I'm not good enough? Why am I thinking Tyrone is cheating? Why am I thinking, why am I sending myself down this rabbit hole? And you have to pull those threads and answer those questions. And once you realize that it's not productive, then you shift over to the facts. So there's the story, but then there's the facts. And so it's like, okay, here's the story I'm telling myself. Let me look at the facts. And, because I run a faith-based platform, I always tell people, I said, okay, now let's run down these things you're telling yourself. Now you find in the Word of God where it say that. You try to match that up in the Bible, and I'm telling you, you're not going to find it. In fact, the Bible says it's the opposite, that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, that you're the head and not the tail, that you're above and not beneath, that you are a royal priesthood. So where are you getting this stuff from? So what do you believe? So depending on your faith community or your own beliefs, as it were, you have to match those up with respect to the story versus what is actually real.
Well, look, I can just personally say, and I know we keep saying wow, but I think this has possibly been one of the most informative podcasts that we've had, because it was just, well, for me personally, it really touched me. Just so many things that you said. I know I used to really self-sabotage so much. And I think it even goes back to even as a teenager. And I know this might sound crazy, but as a teenager, you go to the little dances, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's if it was my anxiety back then or what. I would always stuff like that. I'd always miss it. Because, and I go through hours of getting dressed and preparation and, but it would just kind of be like me really at home trying to just, it would always be just something, but it was really, I think, more so mental, just me finding other little things. Oh, this outfit was working just perfectly fine, but now, what? No, that's not what I want to wear. And so now I'm just wasting all this time. Mm-hmm. But even when you said that about the phone calls, there was just so many different little examples that have come to mind. And I'm just like, wow, if only we had this conversation sooner, or more people were talking about this, especially I think as women, because oftentimes we just we have these thoughts and then we dismiss them. But I guess you say there is like a method to this madness in a sense, like, hey, a lot of people are experiencing this, but no one's really talking about it. We're kind of just sitting quietly on these things and thinking that it's, I don't know, maybe acceptable. I'm not going to say it's coming, because it is coming. Apparently, I'm starting to think it is pretty coming. But I don't know if the acceptable would be the correct word there. But I'm just like really amazed, I'm very amazed.
That's one of the things, and so I don't want anybody to come off this podcast like, who is this high yellow heifer? She don't like black people. I love black people. I love my people. But because I love my people, I can also tell the truth about my people. And in our community, you say it's just accepted. There is a silencing mechanism at work in the black community, meaning when things happen to you, you don't talk about them. When you're suffering, you don't go tell the business. It's that color purple, what I call the Seeley syndrome. You better not never tell nobody but God. You don't talk about what goes on underneath my roof, and that sort of thing. And so we get conditioned to suffer in silence. And so when we're having anxiety or, just feelings of inadequacy or what have you, we haven't always had the language or the luxury to be able to express those things until we became grown women and was like, you know what, hold on. Like Keith Sweat say, something just ain't right. I need to go back and interrogate and find out, what's really going on and why I think this way. And you notice that even just now, mental health for Black people is just now becoming, really gathering steam, because our indoctrination has been, not only do you not tell the business, but, or you tell it to Jesus, or Black don't crack. Meaning, you a strong Black woman, sister soldier, you could take a licking and keep on ticking, bring home the bacon, serve it up in the pan. So we're supposed to be invincible. We're supposed to have it all together. And even if we don't have it all together, we can put on a beat face and make like, honey, I don't look like what I've been through. We can fake it until we make it. And the sad fact is, we are cracking. We are cracking. That's why we have the diabetes. That's why we are overweight. That's why we have the high blood pressure. That's why we have the heart disease. That's why we're the ones most susceptible to COVID. We may not look like it on the outside, but on the inside, all of that stress, all of that psychic toll, that anxiety and stress and all those things have taken on us, absolutely is showing up in our physical health. And so, yeah, you're right. It was quote unquote accepted back then. We didn't have anybody to share those things with that we thought could help us get out of that rut.
Yeah.
As you was talking earlier and you were saying that, it'd be like, you think I could go into Target? Some people call it humble. They say, I'm just trying to be humble. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to, it's okay to think highly of yourself. It's okay to feel like you got it going on. But I feel like our community, we also have been conditioned not to talk about our success, because our success make other people uncomfortable, or it offends other people. So if I'm successful and I'm doing something like Fancy have a magazine, well, I could do that better. Let me go do this magazine better. Or let me go do the same thing that she's doing. Why she always talking about her magazine? And then that person stopped, because it's offending. But when it shouldn't be, my sister's magazine is offending me. It should be, how can I help you, girl, with your magazine? How can I help you with what you're doing?
Scarcity. I'm going to give you a perfect example of what you just said. So let's roll the tape back. I think it was 3-4 years ago. The patty pies. The Patty LaBelle sweet potato pies that was like, I don't know, $2-3 out of Walmart. It was, whatever year that was, it was that year's version of the Popeye's chicken sandwich. So, it was patty pie. Okay, so 5 years ago, it was all about the patty pie. And, it was a decent store-bought pie. I mean, hey, better than me rolling out the pie crust or whatever, because I don't have that kind of time. So, later, I'll take that slice. But, baby, that pie ain't all that See, when I do the walnut crust. See what it is. And I'm like, you just couldn't let Patty have her pie. Like, you just couldn't let Patty have her moment. You know, it's because when you live in scarcity, it's you or me. Either you on top or I'm on top. And if you on top, I'm gonna show you that it should be me on top. Instead of, can we just be on top? You know, does it have to be Cardi or Nicki? Can it be Cardi and Nicki? You know, why does it have to be either, or does it have to be Taraji or Viola? Can it be Taraji and Viola? Why do we have this thing where we're constantly pitting ourselves against one another and in one breath, and then in the next breath will be posting on social media because it's current this week. I'm a Black woman. I build up. I don't tear down. I do that.
Listen,
you a whole lie. You just did it. You are.
That's why I didn't post it. Well, I noticed the people that were posting it. I just, you know.
But I didn't see that. But I did post this week. I said, stop. I had seen something that said, stop telling us to be confident and then get mad when I'm confident.
That's it.
Something like that. And then I made up my own thing. I was like, stop telling me to be confident when you're gonna be offended by when I'm actually succeeding or something like that. But that's it. And it makes so much sense when you say scarcity. You know, it makes so much sense.
People will never allow in other people what they don't allow in themselves. So let's say you are really self-conscious about your body, like you always pulling and tugging at the clothes, and you know you're doing all that. And then, you know, some woman walks in who is hella confident. She may not be the smallest, you know, but she working her curves. She feeling like about herself. Who she thinks she is? Now she knows she ain't got no business. And da-da-da-da. It's like, oh, so you won't allow that in yourself, so you won't allow that in her. And that's what it is. You allow yourself to be confident, so now you can't allow somebody else to be confident.
I had someone tell me I'm too big to be so confident. Yes, I've had, you post too many selfies. But you don't know that one time I didn't think I was pretty. You didn't know that at one time I may have felt not as confident in my body. Mm. But now that I'm confident, it's, you think you too big. I mean, you too big to be so confident. You're too this, you're too that.
Go ahead. When you gaining weight, nobody has anything to say. But then when you start losing weight, don't get too skinny. You starting to look unhealthy. It's like, wait a minute. When I was sitting over here with diabetes and with the needle in the finger, and had to get the seatbelt extender, you didn't have nothing to say about my health then. But then when I started to lose weight and then I got confident, it's like, you just showing out now. Am I? Is that? Okay. So it's like that scarcity mentality. It is so deeply rooted. I mean, it is deep, and it's like we just can't. And it's not to say that this doesn't happen, in other cultures or communities or what have you, but I noticed it more so in ours, because when you grow up on the margins of society and you don't have privilege, and your people are the ones that you see going to jail and all those types of things, it sets up in your mind that you don't have a lot of possibilities. And it sets up this notion of competition that, only a few of us gonna make it. So since only a few of us gonna make it, it's gotta be me. And it's like, scarcity is a lie. It's a lie. It's a whole lie. And as long as we buy into that, we're always gonna experience what you just described. You taking too many selfies, I see you feeling yourself today. I am. In a story.
Well, Dr. Shante, did you have anything that you wanted to say in closing before we wrapped up, or any projects that you want to let our followers know about?
I am wrapping up season 1 of Whole and Complete podcast. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. It's streaming on all platforms. Next month, I am hosting a virtual wellness retreat called Ready to Thrive. And I'm very passionate about this. You only have one life. You only have one life. And I've studied the end of life study, so I'm not to, go to a dark place, but, I'm always thinking, with the end in mind. And the number one regret of dying people is I wish I had the courage to live a life that was true to myself. And you get to, 70, 80 and realize that, you lived your whole life in fear of what other people were going to say. You lived your whole life in fear of what success would look like, or what success would cost you, or whose success would cost you, because we're so hardwired for love and belonging. Or you're looking at 2020 and be like, 2020 is canceled.
Oh, girl, if I hear that one more time.
It's still 4.5 months left in the year. Where do you want to be in December? So Ready to Thrive is getting out of this mentality of just existing, about just checking boxes, even though you mentally checked out, you going through the motions, and whatever dreams you had, you deferred them instead of really actively pursuing them. Instead of walking around defeated, you walking around winning, and being okay with that, being unapologetic about that, and not dimming your light, so that other people can feel comfortable around you. So Ready to Thrive is about getting out of that self-sabotaging rut and really reactivating your mind, your purpose, and your life, so that you can live full out with intention. And hopefully, prayerfully, when you get to the end of your life, you can say, you know what? I drove until the wheels fell off, and I didn't leave anything on the table, and I can go out in peace. So that is happening September 19th. So it's a half-day virtual retreat. And if you want to know more about that, I think I saw the website scrolling past. You can do that at readytobelieve.com.
Yeah, it's up.
That is. Well, we appreciate you again for joining us tonight. You have given us so many pearls of wisdom. I love how you said, because you don't see it in yourself, you don't think I should have it. That was something I was like, bam, that's it.
Right
Hands
there.
down.
Right. I'm so glad you guys had me on the show and your platform. And so, those who are listening and those who are watching, I'm just looking at these comments, the ifs and buts with cherries and nuts, the things that people pick up on. But just so glad that you guys had me and your platform. And I wish you guys nothing but success and continuing to spread positivity in our community, because we need it so badly.
The same to you and yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, we've learned a lot about ourselves. I know for me, I always say I can't, I get so, when I start feeling like that, I got to get up and say, you know what? Whether I feel like I'm capable or should be doing it or not, I'm going to go in and do it. So thank you guys for all your comments.
Yeah, especially Mr. Maurice, Mr. Mo Price. I also saw him on the other live that was earlier too. Thank you for watching and supporting.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to show some of those, and then also, okay, so our second sponsor for the evening is Women Ignite Now, which is also known as, the acronym is W.I.N. And W.I.N provides women who are startups or in business less than 6 years in urban communities to build systematically successful businesses that thrive and support their communities. So W.I.N, it was founded by Dr. Carlene Randolph, and you all can find them online at caism.me. So that's CAISM.me. And Dr. Carlene's Instagram is at Coach K #1. So that's COACHCAI #1. You all can follow her there. And also, she is going to also be submitting some tips pretty soon about how small businesses can prosper basically throughout this time, because it is Black Business Month for one, but it is also another observance that she's going to be submitted on. I'm sorry, I wish I could remember the exact name, because I was the person that thought of this, but it has escaped me at this time. But you all do please check Dr. K and Women Ignite Now out. And Anya, and Anya's, I'm sorry, y'all. But you all know where the theories and thoughts mugs are at, or the what do you call those things?
I love mine. I drink my water out of it.
No.
I'm looking for a way to just keep drinking your water because I don't like cups. And I drink out of glasses. I like this. This is what I use. So.
Yeah, I still drink out of mine. But I had also said, like, it seems like to me, I drink way more water that way too, like kind of unconsciously.
And tomorrow is the big day. Yesterday, Jessica Canty, I don't know if it's still up, but she actually interviewed me on the SwagHer platform. And y'all, it was weird being on the other side, and I didn't want to take over the interview and just give too much without her asking or what have you. But the I'm Married Now What conference will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can get your tickets at the Zoom, not at Zoom, at www.eventbrite.com/e/IM-married-now-what-tickets-120452368. So get your free tickets to this free virtual conference. Y'all, as I told her yesterday, this is not going to be long. I'm not going to take up your whole afternoon because I don't want to sit and listen to nobody for hours and hours. So right now, I told the speakers it's going to be an hour and a half. I'm thinking it's going to be at most 2 hours. It's a panel discussion. Send your questions to me at arnya@LadiCEO.com. And yeah, that's about it. I have a shirt on today. I sell wine. I don't know if you can see it.
I'm trying to move it. I'm sorry. 1 second.
I sell wine. Don't forget, we have the Miss Danes Boutique and Lady and Her Wine. So that's it. Fancy, what about this app that's about to be coming through?
So we will be launching our app soon. Like, actually, I've just kind of been waiting on the last few words, but for the most part, it's already taken care of. So right now we are doing a special. You get 1 month of advertisement on the app for $25, and it is a listing. And the app is the really cool thing that I like about it is that we can actually we'll be able to send notifications to those who have subscribed. It will be available within the Apple Store as well as the Google Play Store. So I'm just like, that's one way. We've been talking about mobile businesses. Everybody has a directory. We also have a directory that's within our website. But of course, it's always a lot easier when you have an app there and you can just, go right to whatever it is. And with that listing placement, you will also the viewers will be able to be directly to your website as well. So if you all are interested, then you all can contact us at advertise@SwagHer.net. I don't know why I don't have this up here right now, but I'll just drop it here in the comments, and you all can let us know, if you're interested or you have further questions.
Well, all right. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I hope you have learned a lot. I'm glad that hopefully you had your pencil and paper so you can learn, so you can take what you learned today and utilize it. Are you self-sabotaging? Are you suffering from imposter syndrome? And let's get out of those old bad habits and let those negativity thoughts go away.
Bye. Bye.